Hello, welcome to Dzylo training session. In this session, I'm going to explain how you can create a quotation and what are the settings you need for your company to customize your quotation. So when you logged into Dzylo One Platform, as an admin first, and then you have to go to the settings. So there are few settings you have to make changes to. So when you come here to the quotation item list, you see this empty list. You might also have a global data added here, but first time you will see this as empty. You click on these three dots, okay, and you click on import from global. Import from global is like a global list which we provide with our software. You can also download the template and update the data in that template and import the template back to update it to the system, or you can click individually to these items. So there are like item name, the category of item, subcategory of item, item description, its unit price, and the unit of measurement, and if there is any image you want to add. So if suppose you want to make any change to this, suppose I want to change rate from 4,000 to 40,000, or like say 5,000. I can make change, I can edit here. So this is a list first you have to set up, and this list should be the master list of the all the items your company is providing, so that you can create a quotation. Other thing is like in a quotation you have here, we have like this preview setting. So you click on this preview setting, okay, and within a preview setting you have to set up your logo which will be visible to quotation, your theme, primary color, and your secondary color of your company. So in my case I am using this virtual design, so I have selected this blue as a primary color, black as a secondary color. Then you have a like template. So it is depends on how you want to show your quotation to be created. Do you want a single table? Do you want a separate sections for each area or separate for each category? So I am selecting category as a default for now, but you would also be able to change it in a during creating a quotation. Other is like what are the columns you want to display. So suppose these are like columns I have selected, this should be displayed in my quotation later on. This is a default setting, I can also go and change while creating quotation. Other is like item description. So what all column details you want to be added in item description column, whether you want a GST or you want a GST as applicable. So I can also do, suppose in my case I am doing 18% as a GST. I can create a default terms and condition and default payment plan. So suppose like I'll also share you where you can go and create these default settings. So suppose I am selecting like this is a default payment plan my company should have in all quotation. Then there are like few pages I want to add to my quotation at the start, which is a cover page, or at a last page. You can add a multiple pages here. You can click on this plus and give a name, select a file, and select the its type, whether you want it to be cover page or you want it to be the last page. These pages you can also create in Canva. You can add your company QR code, your bank details if you want to. You can add more projects, which previous projects which your company have done. Some initial good looking cover page you can create. So once you set this up, you can do save. Other thing you have to set up is your company settings. So you come here, your company name, company email, company name, all the like your company logo, favicon is you can skip, it is not needed. Your address, your bank details, and all. Suppose I am writing my bank detail as ICICI 0000542001, some random number, say Gurgaon was my branch detail, okay, and I'll just click on save. So these are the settings you have to do. Now to create a quotation, the quotation will be created per project or per lead level. So suppose I first have to go to any lead. If you don't have any lead at the start, you go and create a test lead. You can write any name of your lead. You can write any phone number of your lead. You can add any, say, xyz gmail.com as an email address. name of project, say training project, and you can just add a lead. So I'm going to select one lead which is I have here. So okay, I'm going to this project. So when you go to that particular lead or project, you see these many cards. In these cards, different card have a different purpose. So here we will focus on quotation generator. So I'll click on quotation generator. Now initially this list will be empty for your case because there is no quotation to be created. You first have to go to quotation tool. Now in quotation tool, you have all these areas a drop down. You have all categories which is coming from the list you created for your company in settings. All the subcategories, suppose you select any category, any subcategory you have, it will come. All the items belong to that subcategory will be loaded here. You should be able to type in here say number of like say 5 quantity, and you can also make changes to maybe price here. Suppose I want it 45,000, I can make change here, and you can add this item to the quotation. So you will keep adding items in this quotation first, and you will have all these items here. You can select any item which will be populated here. Suppose I have this item, I want to change a quantity to 1. You can also do update item. Other thing which you might need is you might need to arrange this item in one specific format or order. So what you can do, suppose I want all area without balcony, I want this flooring to be the first one, I can just pick it and drop it here. You can just select anything, pick it in, drag and drop. So those things you can do here. Now once you are done with all the things here, you can go and preview and export. So when you go to the preview setting, these are the things which is coming from company setting. This is coming from the logo which we added in preview setting. This is the name of the project or the name of the client. Then this is the estimate and it is displayed in this format. Now suppose you want to make changes to this format. What you can do, first is like you can select like whether you want a category wise. So you see here like we have a finish, loose furniture, flooring category wise table. If you want a single table, you can create it and it will be single table for all items. If you want the area wise, you can also have a all area. You can have area without balcony, with bathroom balcony. So I'm going to stay with category wise. In item description, so you see here I have an area, I have a category, and description and all is here. Suppose I don't want to include area here, I can deselect it. I don't want to include category, I can also deselect it. Item name I can remove, and I just wanted to keep item description and specification. If I also want the item image, I can also select image. In this case, if I select image here, it will come in this format. So in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the image as a separate column, which is settings. I have done. So maybe I want to make changes now. Suppose I just don't want this image column, or maybe I don't want this UM column. What I have to click, I have to click on the activate right side editing. You see here like there are lots of these red dots you see now. So wherever you see this pencil icon, you can make changes on that. Suppose instead of an estimate, I want to write a quotation. So you can change it to quotation. Okay, and then click on this green button. Suppose I want to change my columns, you can go and select. So suppose I don't want image, then you can deselect it. You don't want you can also deselect it. Whatever columns you want here, you can actually select those columns or deselect those columns. Okay, then there is a payment plan. So we have a one payment plan here, which I have selected. So this payment plan is displayed here. Then I have a different terms and conditions, so I can also change that. Okay, I want this terms and condition, or like I can go back to the default one. Then there are additional pages. So suppose I want front page and last page to be added. So you see here, once I add the front page, all these beautiful pages, which is like you can have a creatives added, those will be displayed here. Other thing here is like enable price hide view. So you see in this, suppose you have you want to give this quotation to your supervisor, so you want them to validate if all items which were listed in a quotations are installed or not. You want them to like checkbox this as a use it as a checklist, you can do the enable price hide view and do the export for them. Other thing which you can do here is like you can add a discount. So suppose I'll just click on price hide price again. Suppose I want to add a discount of like say discount suppose new year discount. Okay, so I can write like okay, I have a 10% discount which is I'm adding. The other discount I want to add is suppose fixed price discount like design fee discount, and this is like fixed charge say 1,000 rupees. Or there is a one more discount I want to add which is like say early bird discount, and this is going to be again 10% and this is percent. So if you see I have added 1,000 rupees discount and two discount which are 10%. If I go to my quotation and I see first my 10% discount is applied, then my 1,000 rupees discount is applied. So in the order which I am adding my discounts, these are getting applied in the same order. Now after applying this discount, whatever amount I have left, which is like 86 something, on that I am again applying a 10%. So this is not a overall 20% discount, it is like 10%, and on top of that there is an additional 10%. Now the GST is like uh, if you keep it yes, then it will be percentage you can change. If you keep it as applicable, it will show number plus as GST. The other thing is like additional charges. Suppose that I also want to include a transportation charges. So I add a transportation charges. Okay, and charge is say 4,500 rupees and it is a fixed, you know. Now it is like this checkbox decide whether I want to include GST, calculate GST on these additional charges or not. um, I'm going back to the GST 18%. If I deselect it, my GST amount will be reduced. So there is no GST applied to this. If I select it again, then it will be approximately 1,000 rupees GST which is applied on this. So you can add multiple additional charges if you want to add anything which is free. Suppose you can say a free shoe rack. You can make a charge as a 0 and you can also add it here, and you can exclude it in a GST. Okay, so all this you can do. Other than that, suppose you want to make any change to you want to hide this, so you can do minus. You also want to hide logo, you can also minus. You can plus, you can again show it. So it depends on what you want clients to see in your quotation. Coming back to here, so if you want to make any edit, suppose to the bank details for this particular quotation, you can do it. Okay, so I have done it. You have to select this checkbox again. In terms and condition also, suppose for one, this is your default terms and condition, but for one customer you want to add it something like the note, like say work hours should be say 12 per day, or anything note you want to add, you can also add it. Select it back. Now there is a one more thing. You see a small plus icon here. So in case you have to add anything else, suppose you want to add any client requirement, so you can click this plus. I'm just clicking this plus, then you click this pencil icon. You can add any custom requirement like client requirement here. And suppose I'm just as a temporary I'm pasting this data, so you can paste it here, and then you have to select it back. So you have to click OK once you are done. So once you are done with these additional things here, you can go and do the export. And you can also, like, if you want to save all these setting for this quotation, if you don't save these settings, these setting will be lost. So suppose you come back on the same project or same lead again after some some few days and you want to create or modify a quotation, you will not find these settings saved. So first we recommend you to do the save preview. So anything you are saving for this particular project, you can do save preview. Once you save it, it will always be preserved for the next quotation for this particular project. You click on the export to PDF. It will generate a PDF and you see this PDF. So I'm like just clicking on the export, save. Okay. So you see this PDF, and this PDF has come out very nicely with all your requirements here added. Okay. Now I'll just share quickly about how you use the payment plan as well as terms and conditions. So you go back to settings. Here you see payment plan and terms and condition. So you can click on terms and condition. You can create a new term condition and then you can write a name. Suppose you can say commercial projects and you can say and you can do update. Okay. Same way, if you want to create a payment plan, you click on a payment plan. Suppose I'll create a payment plan with the name residential projects and I'll add like booking amount, say 10%. Then I want to add project, you can say 20%. Then you can say middle of execution, say 40%, and then delivery, say 30%. Okay, so you can create your plan which will have all breakup and these plan will be available during quotation. Other thing which is very important here is, suppose you have created a quotation. So I'm going back to the quotation generator of this project and I have this quotation. Okay, this quotation will stay here and you will also see a draft quotation in this as a single list. Now what I want to do is I want to save this quotation. Okay, so you can do save quotation. Say I can say first draft, or maybe you can also write a date, first Feb. Okay, so I created this quotation. Now it is saved. After few days, customer comes and customer say, okay, I don't want maybe any tile work. Okay, and I don't want, and or I want altogether a different quotation. So what you can do, you can then, now your quotation is saved. Now you can go and create a new quotation. So you can do new quotation and you can discard it. Okay, or you want to, if you haven't saved it, you can use this save button, but because we already saved it, we don't need to save it again. So we can say discard and you can again create a fresh quotation for a client. Or suppose you, so whatever is there in a this quotation tool tab, that comes as a draft quotation. So right now it is empty. Suppose I decided that okay, I want to start the quotation creation from some other quotation. For an example, like I'll go back to some other project. Okay, so suppose I remember that for some other client I have created some quotation in the past, and that quotation was like which I want to reuse here. So I'm just giving one example. I'll create one example quotation here, and suppose this is the quotation. I'll save this quotation as, like, I'll say export Gurgaon villa. Okay, so I saved this quotation. I can mark this quotation as my favorite. Okay, so I marked it as a favorite. Now this is a different project. This is Webhouse Gurgaon Villa. Now I go back to my current project and I want this Gurgaon Villa. I want to start from the quotation where I left. So I'll just go to quotation tool. I'll say create quotation. Now I'll say clone from. So clone from, this is a saved list. There is three options. Saved list, which is this list. My favorite is the favorite which I marked, or all favorite is favorite which are marked by anyone in a company. So I will click on my favorite and you see this quotation coming from a different lead or different project listed here. So I can just select it and I can clone it here. Now suppose I want to clone or like start, I want to pick the item from multiple quotations which I saved. So either I saved here in a list or I have marked those as a star, or like in any other project as well, not just limited to this project. What I can do is, instead of clone will just do an exact copy of that particular quotation. I can do import, and what import does is it allow me to like bring data or items from multiple quotations to the single quotation. So I'll say like, okay, my favorite list, suppose these are two projects, so I can pick this item from 5 years. So you see the previous item which I added previously of 1500 rupees is also here, and these additional items from the other quotation is also imported. So import is like bringing all the items from different quotation to your list. Clone is like exactly making a copy of a quotation from other quotation and then starting from it. So this way what you can do is you can do multiple you can like keep saving few quotations which are you frequently making in different projects, and then you can just import from those or clone from those to whenever you have a new client. One more thing which we haven't covered is like all the item which is coming here in a list are coming from list which we created here. So this is like a quotation item list, and all these items coming are coming from this list. But what happens, like it is not always possible that you have all the items in your master list. So what you have to do is you can just do a list. Instead of listed, you can select custom. Okay, and then you can create any new category. Okay, and you can say like a new category name is say decor item, and you can also add a new subcategory here, say vase. Okay, or you can say artificial plant. Okay, now item name is say areca palm, say 3 feet, and some specification. I'll write it here. I'll write palm. Okay, price is say 3,500. Unit is NA, quantity is 1. I added this. So what you can do, you see here add to main list. You can also click here and you can say I'm just giving example image here, but you can click on any you can add any image for this item. You can also click on add to main list. So when you do add to main list and you can add item in this quotation, this item is now available to you anytime you want to use it. Suppose again you select the decor, you select artificial plant, you will see this item added. So for future also, whenever you are creating a quotation, you can keep adding or populating your master list from here. And if I go back to the settings and I go here, you see the areca palm has been added here. Okay, you can come here, you can also make edit to this particular item from here as well, but it also help you defining any new item which while creating a quotation and populating your master lists. So that's all about the quotation. Maybe in the next time we will cover modular quotation. Okay, thank you.